Hey guys, welcome to a bittersweet episode of the Lovin Dubai show. It is Tuesday morning. I was joined by Shahir, who was hosting on his last day.
Boo!
That does not replicate the emotion that we shared on the show. How dare you?
As in, boo, I'm leaving.
Yeah, but come on, it was sweet.
It's awfully sad. Today's my last day at Lovin. So guys, thank you for everything in the last 2.5 years. Casey, thank you for the surprise on the show.
Can I thank you because the show ended like 15 minutes ago, guys, and we're sitting here waiting to do the podcast, and it's very warm, and Shahir is clearly sweating, but he's sitting through it.
I'm sweating so much, mainly because of the anxiety of having my face projected in the LED screen. So if you want to watch the live show with all the beautiful graphics, you can watch it on Twitter/X, Facebook, YouTube, our website. We spoke about people queuing all night for the new property launch in Dubai, and residents are looking for advice on how to raise kids with gratefulness and gratitude and appreciation.
We talked about the 7 Emirate road trip and all things Supercross ahead of the FIM World Supercross Abu Dhabi Grand Prix. It's coming to the Etihad Arena November 4th and November 5th. Please take a listen. Good morning, Dubai. Welcome back to the Lovin Dubai show, where we go through the top trending stories that everyone across the country is talking about. Our top story for you this morning: more overnight queues for a property launch in Dubai.
Insanity, and residents' advice on raising grateful kids in Dubai.
We're talking about the person that used their long weekend to the best of their abilities. They did a 7 Emirate road trip, which is so inspiring.
So inspiring. And then we're going to go on a short break. And then we're talking to the Supercross racers ahead of the FIM World Supercross Abu Dhabi Grand Prix.
But before we get into all of that, you may notice Shahir is dressed in black. It is a sad day in the Lovin Dubai office because our man Shahir is moving on, leaving us.
See ya, buddy.
No,
actually.
So sad.
I am so sad. I'm riddled with anxiety. I'll miss the team, you know?
We're going to miss you too. You know what I'm going to miss is your story choices. He came in this morning and was like, you know what we should do? We should talk about
the, bedbug infestation.
Both things are making me really sad this morning.
There's a bedbug infestation, but not in beds, all over Paris. All over Paris. It's insane to me. This is in cinemas. This is in tubes, people's beds, and everywhere in between. The mayor of Paris said, no one's safe. No one is safe from the bed bugs.
That is what concerns me. Oh my days, look at the screen.
That is not funny. Why would you do that?
Do you not look great?
I absolutely don't.
So Shahir's a vibe, and I want to tell you my favorite Shahir of all of the Shahirs is the one that's been caught clearly doing something on his phone. Because whenever we obviously work on our phones so much, whenever you pass your phone to Shahir or vice versa, he's like, oh wait, let me just check it. Let me just check everything that I've done on my phone before I can pass it to you. So my favorite Shahir is the one on the right that's been caught with his phone.
I think that's the most candid Shahir. I was probably on a dating app there.
That's the most candid Shahir. What about the middle one?
I can ride it while you slipping and sliding. I can do all them little tricks and keep it up inside it. You can go down and kiss it. And every time he leave me alone, he always tell me he miss it.
Oh my god!
I hear
Guys, don't make me cry on live.
Cheetos. And we are all dressed as Shahir.
I think. Yeah.
It's a sad day. Taz, come into frame.
The whole office is here, but they don't want to show themselves. Guys,
Cheetos?
The brave ones are eating Shahir's snack for breakfast.
There's no need to zoom in. Let's not do this this early in the morning. Guys, thank you so much. I'm covered for tomorrow, the day after, the day after that, the day after that, the day after that, the day after that, and the day after that, and... Well,
These are for the show.
Yeah.
Okay,
These
sure,
are
yeah,
for
fine.
sure.
It's only fair. Thank you. But whose idea was that?
Okay.
Explain yourself.
I think the dressing as Shahir was the best thing, because Shahir...
Guys, look at Taz.
Thank you, guys.
I need that back. Only half. Thank you, guys.
Shahir is also a fashion icon.
Yeah.
Well, it goes without saying.
Do you hate my outfit?
I love your outfit.
This is literally you.
You're getting hipper by the day.
It's a choker. It's a baggy shirt. It's baggy trousers that don't match.
I mean, the Birkenstocks we can do without, but whatever. You tried. God loves a trier.
I can't see.
Thankfully, no shade, no shade. The Birkenstocks are very cool, very now. Taz will agree.
And they're also all dressed as Shahir.
Guys, thank you so much.
Why is everyone wearing black?
Except for that. I actually did ask if everyone could come dressed as if they're going to a funeral.
We got this thing. Well.
Thank you, guys. No, you can stop zooming in now. Like, no, we can stop that. We can stop that, please. Oh, okay.
A massive thank you to Shahir for bringing so much great energy and positivity to our office. People love you, and we'll be miss you very much.
I love you guys more. They're honestly, I'm trying to hide them, but like.
Oh, they're yours. They were a gift.
Thank you.
50 dirham, that whole thing.
No way.
Yeah,
Export too, by the way.
Yeah.
They didn't cheap out.
Exactly.
Thank you so much. Like,
you can get me back at any time.
The Nicki Minaj, the Cheetos, the all black everything, and that. Thanks, buddy.
We do have to jump into our stories.
No, we don't.
So, for the very last time, Shahir and I will bring you our top stories today. We're talking all night long queues for a property launch. What is happening with the Dubai property market? It is going from strength to strength. It is going through the roof. And last night, we saw another overnight queue for the unveiling of a new development. This time, we've moved from the Palm, and last night's launch was for Azizi Developments, a new development that they're launching.
Insane. So queues gathered at 2 a.m. last night for a 9 a.m. token collection this morning to be the first owners of the 8.2 billion Azizi Developments property. It's a Venetian-inspired luxury waterfront lifestyle community with a swimmable crystal blue water lagoon in Dubai South.
Yes. So we saw last night possibly hundreds of people gathering for what will be 30,000 residential units. They're going to have 100 apartment complexes. So this is a whole new community that in 5 years' time will be like, oh, that community that we all know so well that everyone lives in. And it's got 400 luxury villas and mansions as well. It was first announced last week at a Coca-Cola Arena event. So they kind of went big to hype this. They had Nancy Arjan come in to make sure that everyone knew about this new development that was launching. And it worked. We saw a lot of people out last night at 2 a.m. camping overnight to get into the queue to own a property.
I understand if it's an iPhone. I understand if it's, you know, like those hype beast vibey situations. But for a property, like, okay, yeah, there's mansions, 400 mansions. But like 2 a.m. until 9 a.m. for a token, it's beyond me. I don't think I'd do it for a property. Just build. You can literally build exactly what you want, customize it the way you want, and you're not going to have to spend 7 hours of your life stood in a queue. That's how I feel about it.
True, but I guess this is real money. These properties are not built yet, and this is real money that people are putting down. They're looking at it as an investment. And we had a finance expert on the show last week, and he said, you know, people do need to look beyond real estate for their investment opportunities, their investment choices. But I think it's still very common for people to look at a real estate as an investment. It's an off-plan property, so you're going to get a little bit cheaper, of course, than when it's built. And people are betting on the city.
And also the location is very important to note down. Like, we've had so many people, just like in the industry, say how that side of Dubai is slowly but surely developing. So in terms of your finances and going for something that isn't as excruciating to the bank account, like just that side of Dubai, the Jebel Ali, South Dubai, Arjan, all that area is where it's Poppington as of now. I'll have you know.
And of course, when we see the Al Maktoum airport open up fully, that's going to be the biggest, what they're aiming for, the biggest commercial airport in the world when it gets fully up and running. So that part of town is going to be, as you said, live and kicking. So everyone who was out there last night, I'd love, if you were watching the show, tell us, did you get your token and what property are you going for? Give us inspo.
What would you wait in queue for if it wasn't properties or an iPhone?
In Q4, did you say?
No, what would you queue for?
Okay. On the brain.
Good morning. What would it be?
I would queue for specific concerts.
Okay.
Robbie Williams is coming.
Okay.
And the basic tickets are sold out. And I would love to be going to Robbie Williams. I would actually queue for Robbie Williams. There's specific concerts that you just know are going to be memorable. If anyone has Robbie Williams tickets at the regular ones, not the really fancy ones, and they're selling them, I'm available to buy.
Throw a bone.
What would you queue for?
It would have to be someone I really, really like. I think either Nicki Minaj or The Strokes.
Yeah, The Strokes. Of course you would queue for Nicki Minaj.
You're so hip. You're so hip. The Strokes are queue
rubbing
for.
off on me before you leave. So Nicki Minaj concert tickets. Of course, Nicki is not coming. We cannot be. We're not bringing you that news.
Like, by the way, what's that about, Nixon? Like, explain yourself. Well, I think she might be. Like, she has a new album coming out, World Tour. No one asked for this, but I'm elaborating anyway. But Nicki Minaj I queue for. The Strokes I would queue for a million times. I've seen them once, and I never had music speak to me that way.
This is the thing about concerts, that they can really, but also at home, if I could afford it, would probably speak to me too.
Yeah.
Speaking of investments, we're jumping into a hot topic. We're talking about childcare and why it's important to raise kids in a certain way.
Yeah, so this question came up on Reddit, sparking a discussion amongst parents specifically. So they wanted to figure out how to raise their kids with the right values and priorities. And then a savvy nanny chimed in with advice that Reddit couldn't help but applaud. She says, just be there for your kids. In a world where nannies are helpers and often play a significant role in the children's lives, this nanny's message was clear. Just because you have the help doesn't mean that your nanny should replace in parenting. It's about being there physically and emotionally for the kids. And the saying goes, presence is I messed it up. Presence is the best present.
So true.
So true.
So true. I think it's, the question was, what can you do? And it's, the nanny is saying, just be there, you know? Like, you simply being there and being present with your kids, not on your phone, makes all the difference. And just really listening to them and hearing them, which brings us back to the interview that we had with Dr. Saliha Afridi last week, who is the founder of the Lighthouse Arabia. And she looks a lot at kind of mental health for kids. And she just said, just be with your kids.
Yeah.
And it's not about saying, hey, how are you? It's actually just being friendly and understanding them. So they may not open up to you on the first go, but if you're with them consistently, then you'll understand a bit more about their lives.
Yeah.
So, but in this case, the nanny who jumped into the conversation, she suggested make memories with your kids that don't heavily rely on material possessions. So memories don't necessarily mean going to Disneyland. In a city where the culture often revolves around travel and material distractions, find moments of genuine connection, and that becomes even more valuable. So the nanny's advice extends to teaching basic life skills. I think this is so great, like cooking and cleaning. Dubai sometimes might feel like a bit of a bubble, but these skills will benefit your kids later in life as well if they choose to settle elsewhere.
Yeah, kids often mirror the household culture. Growing up in a materialistic environment makes them more likely to adopt the same values. Therefore, being present as a parent is crucial. Help them understand the values of earning rather than simply receiving. Whilst providing for your children is great, there is a fine line between caring for their needs and supporting them. I truly have a lot of thoughts to almost every sentence we spoke. So parents aren't just going to get nannies and just people that help in the house for the sake of not wanting to spend time with their kids. I grew up with more memories with my nanny than with my parents. And that wasn't necessarily by choice. It's because my parents were fending for the family to such extremes. My parents wouldn't spend so much time within the country.
Working.
Exactly, for us. And I think they had that sense of resilience distilled with them. Times were different. I was going to say 100 years ago, but like 40 years ago. And they had to go through all these obstacles to provide the life that we have now. And it's not that they didn't want to spend time with us. They just had to show love in different ways. So for me, the maid that I grew up with, she taught me the alphabet. She taught me how to crack my knuckles. She could even read, by the way, but she learned the alphabet to teach me the alphabet. And all my memories growing up are all related to her. So like, I'm always going to love her as a second mom. And I think a second part of it is...
But on that point, do you think the values you uphold as a person came from your nanny or from your parents? Because I think this is what this nanny's saying is like, you know, the nannies are around, but actually, if you want to show them how to be grateful and to grow up kind of in a non-materialistic way, the parents have to instill that in them because it comes from the household culture.
I think that's where like, I'm sure my values did come from my nanny, but then my parents still had to show me where they came from, all the obstacles that they had to go through, all the sacrifices that they had to make. And I think in a place like Dubai, where you come and everything's beautiful, but then you go back home and see where your parents came from and what real life is like and what the rest of your family has to deal with. Like, my family in Africa, they don't have hot water to shower with, and that's like a countrywide thing, you know, in Tanzania specifically. And that was a culture shock for me, but that was how my dad grew up. Like, I was so like taken off guard by the reality of what my roots are, that just having that experience was eye-opening. My dad would say, I'd have to walk 2 kilometers every day to go to school, and you have a driver, which is true. Like, him saying that makes me more appreciative for the driver that would come 10 minutes late every day and make me late for school. But I'm still appreciative to the fact that I had a driver when my dad had to walk in God knows what weather conditions every day to school.
That's so interesting, and it's so true that there's a vast distinction between how we live our life here versus how we might live in the country that we came from. I think that can be said for a lot of people. Obviously, that's quite extreme when they don't have hot water in where your dad grew up. But then I also think that's important to, you know, your parent can tell you something and they can say, I had it so different, you have it better, be grateful. But it's actually, how do you actually instill that? You know, you can say things over and over, but for kids to genuinely be appreciative of what they have around them, I think it's very difficult. So what the nanny's saying here is to be present. But also, I always think it's important to like show them the value of a dirham, show them the value of a buck. So like growing up, we worked from, you know, 13, 14, 15 and like, you know, like childhood jobs. Like I was at a parking lot taking cash and, you know, taking money in, but then you get a monthly paycheck, or you're getting, so obviously, I think from the age of 16 here, you can take side jobs, but I think even those like side hustles for kids where they're learning, you know, they're understanding money a bit more and they're understanding where the money comes from, or even if you give them pocket money and then they have to use that to purchase things that they like, I think that's really important rather than just the give.
Yeah, for
as
sure.
they get older.
For sure, the pocket money situation like really puts you in your place when you want to hang out with your friends, you want to do this, like that teaches you not necessarily the value of the buck, but just teaches you budgeting and like appreciating money for what it is. And I think having a job at such a young age is so important. I always wanted to work at McDonald's when I was 16. Like it's the same situation I'm on. You'd have to be 16 to get a job. I always wanted to do it, but my dad always said no. And that's like, I think, a cultural thing. Like, why would you work when I'm working for you? But I think it's for the parents to push kids to just get outside of their comfort zone. You spend all of summer doing nothing besides the 2 weeks you're traveling. So that's where you build like character and skills and just appreciation for the small things.
So true. Parents, if you're watching, you obviously have a much greater insight. So it's so easy for me to be like, you know, show them the value of a buck, send them out to work, or like pocket money for chores. But parents know what it's actually like. So even if we talk about, you know, establishing screen time with the kids, I don't have kids, and I'd be like, oh yeah, I won't give my kids an iPad. My sister has 3 kids below the age of 6, and that's just not, it's game over, you know, like they're going on a long journey, the iPads are out, they're sitting at a restaurant, the iPads are out, you know, like there's only so much you can do when you don't have that help around you. So it's very easy to sit here and to say, to preach, do this and do this and this, but it's also very hard to even the be present moment. Simran asked Dr. Saliha, you know, you're saying, who was on the show last week, Simran said, you know, you're saying you're being present, but parents have to work. So how can you make that happen? And Dr. Saliha is like, look, a lot of workplaces will be, you know, open to you being there at the school run, like putting them on the bus at the pivotal moment, picking them up from the bus. Like you can't be there their whole lives. They have to go out themselves. But if you can be there for the important moments when you fear that maybe if they're like an anxious kid to help them, then that's also important.
This is a very like traumatic story. Not really. So when I had my middle school graduation, everyone's parents showed up except mine, and I had a cousin as well in my same year group, and his mom, my aunt, came and she was like, where's your mom and dad? And I was like, they're working. And I ran off and cried. I was the one person that didn't have their parents there because they were outside of the country. But I think it's moments like those that really showed me what my parents are doing. So it is easy to say everything, but like at the same time, it is hard. Like my parents would come back at 6 every day and not necessarily want to socialize immediately, but still go and sit on my mom's lap. Like 4 of us on one sofa. Wasn't a big sofa. We'd all just sit on her and she'd be on her phone, like trying to relax, trying to take a nap. But we just want to be around her. So I think, yeah, it's just those moments that show you what your parents go through and like what the reality of being a parent and being a kid is.
Yeah, it's really tricky for kids to. It's interesting that you said that showed you what they were doing, because I think it's tricky for kids to really sometimes understand what their parents are doing for them. Let's jump into our next story on this Tuesday morning. Someone did a 7 Emirate road trip over the long weekend. So while some of us slept, an Abu Dhabi teacher made memories and the best use of his long weekend by road tripping across the entire UAE.
Take a page out of his school book. So, at the bearded teacher kickstarted his journey in Abu Dhabi, and his story showed him hitting Dubai, stopped in Al Seef, getting some karak, as he would, then on to Sharjah and Rak, where he came upon the most stunning sunset.
Yes, he did. So in just 3 days, he saw incredible architecture. He saw history, old school cars. He even assisted a roadside cleanup, which we came upon in Rak, which we shared on our Lovin Rak page. He said it was a very long drive and a memorable one. And this is a reminder to everyone, we have one life to live. It's amazing to see people making the very most of this incredible country as the temperature slightly drops. By the way, an Abu Dhabi teacher. I used to be an Abu Dhabi teacher. Where do you teach?
Oh my God, at the bearded teacher. Let's connect.
Shoifat, yeah.
Shoifat, honestly, is a whole nother level. It's like the school vibes give such like movie vibes. Do you think that? Shoifat's its own like can of worms, is what I'm saying.
I mean, I didn't go to school here, so I don't have the other schools too. And I was a Shoifat teacher for 4 years, and I didn't go beyond that. So what do you mean by that?
Shoifat's so on it. Like on another level, like the amount of
what
work.
Does that mean?
As in, like, where's the social life for the kids? In the best way possible, like having exams every day and everything. You know, like all my friends that went to Shoifat ended up with the highest grades out of anyone else I know. It is
It is a very intense learning curriculum from the day that the kids arrive in school when they're in
kindergarten,
KG1, KG2, grade 1. We have exams every 2 weeks.
Yeah.
But bearded teacher, let us know where you teach. But also, so if you followed his stories, and he's got a highlight reel up on his Instagram, kicked it off in Abu Dhabi, Dubai, Sharjah, Rak, and he showed that journey, and it was, I think, maybe 4 hours. It must have been more than 4 hours. And then it was like, where should I go next? But he basically went to the tip and he covered the entire kind of
map region situation.
Yeah, the entire edge of the country. And it was just so cool to see that, you know, he wasn't hitting the most popular tourist spots. Obviously, he went to some, but he had a really wholesome weekend. He saw sunsets, like we said, amazing architecture, history throughout all the Emirates. And he went to like Disco Karak, for that famous Karak in
I'm not sure. I'm nodding my head. I'm not sure.
Disco Chai, I think it's really well known. So like he did do some like really famous spots, but he just had a great use of his long weekend. And I put it to you, what did you do?
Nothing. Literally nothing.
So the story is a reminder, we have one wild life to live, and are we using it? Speaking of wildlife, our next interview, guys, this blew me away. We're talking all things Supercross. The FIM World Supercross Abu Dhabi Grand Prix is happening on Etihad Arena on Yas Island, November 4th and November 5th. And we were joined by 2 Supercross legends, Anthony Rodriguez and Max Ansi. Right after this break, they told us all about what actually goes down in those races. If you're looking for an exciting event, these guys are hitting speeds. By the way, it's a contact sport.
Yep.
It is a contact sport.
It looks so intense. I could never. I'd love to, but I could never.
It's like F1 on the tracks, but like, you know, they're hitting heights of. He told me on the show, I can't remember. It is wild. So please take a listen. And if you're looking for something wild to do on November 4th and 5th, then you certainly can head down there. It's in Abu Dhabi for the first time ever. Please take a listen. Welcome back to the Lovin Dubai show. Calling all Supercross fans, Abu Dhabi is hosting its first ever international Supercross event, the FIM World Supercross Abu Dhabi Grand Prix on November 4th and 5th. It's all happening down at the Etihad Arena on Yas Island, and here to tell us more about it, we're going to be joined by 2 Supercross superstars, Anthony Rodriguez and Max Ansi. Thank you so much for joining the show. How are you guys doing?
Doing well, thank you. I was on
Not at all.
Okay.
I appreciate your time, guys. Welcome to the UAE. Have you had a chance to get out and get some practice ahead of the event?
Yeah, we've been out. We managed to get out of the desert a little bit yesterday. We're feeling it. Anthony's had a good look around. Yeah, we're loving it here.
What's the terrain like? What's it like going as fast as you can on the UAE dunes? Like, it must be pretty exhilarating.
Yeah, it's definitely something that basically put it off. Then it's a little bit behind on our sport, but it was definitely a fun activity to do yesterday. For the race, it's actually something we never get to see the third or the track that we're racing until the day of the race. So that's something that we have to be proactive and break the track quick. So that's another challenging part of the sport as well.
Massively. So you have no idea what the loops are going to be. It's not like F1 where you go to get practice. You don't know what's coming up on the day.
Yeah, not at all. We get 15-minute practices.
Yeah, exactly. We've got to learn fast.
Well, so as in, can you describe what a Supercross event is like to us? Like I said, it's the first time it's coming to Abu Dhabi. So you need to give us a rundown of what's actually going to happen on the day.
So, Supercross, we have qualifying in the morning. We're racing dirt bikes in the stadium. The track is, I don't know, between 45 seconds and a minute long. We have qualifying, and then we go into our races, our main event racing. There's big showing between all of that. There's pyrotechnics, DJs, freestyle events, and then the 20 of the best, the world's fastest Supercross racers in the 250 and 450 class go racing it, and we try and go as fast as we can and not crash and end up getting to the finish line. That front place. There's jumps and a track. We've got the three main events. It's going to be very intense. A lot of hard racing. Unlike an F1 or car racing, it's contact's allowed in our sport. So that's the way we move forward and pass guys. Without taking yourself out, you've got to be able to jump and pass the guys as fast as you can. So yeah.
I'm going to stop you right there. You're allowed contact in the middle of this race. What speeds are you going? You're saying the bikes are allowed to touch, you're allowed to push people out of the way?
Yes, to an extent, there was a limit to it. There's rules to it. You can do what's called a block pass. You cannot do what's called a T-bone. A block pass is where you cut the guy's line. So basically, you're making him brake. You are allowed to hit as low as your front wheel is ahead of his knee, basically. And if you hit him below or behind the knee, that's not allowed. But it can get very tactical, and some people end up going down. I can be surprised. There's a lot of contact that actually goes on. That's pretty hard hitting in ourselves, and nobody goes down, or because we grow up learning how to take a hit or take a hit.
So what would your strategy, if you make it to the top 20, what would your strategy be for that final race? Are you just saying go as fast and hard as I can? Are you looking at other competitors? Are you planning to bring someone down? Like, are you guys rivals or are you mates on the track?
It's the start. The start is very important. Unlike a car race, even if you qualify first, you start on a straight line. So we start on grid straight instead of having first place clearly ahead. Some of the line selection gate could be better for a guy who qualifies first, but that guy still is not guaranteed to get first place start. So the fastest guy could be coming to the pack. It's get out the gate, get out in front, and try and sprint would be the easiest way, but that doesn't always happen. You've got to plan your passes and move forward and be smart and not do anything too silly. But in this intense sport, there's going to be clashes and people. There's carnage everywhere, so you've got to try and avoid that.
So logical, but taking risks all at the same time. Love it. So you're in the UAE. We have epic terrain for motocross, for Supercross. How do you get into the sport? Like, how long have you guys been doing it to get to peak level? For anyone watching, if they want to join, how do you get involved?
Well, I'm a second generation racer. My dad gave me my first bike when I was 4 years old, and I've been doing it ever since. But it's not that difficult to get into it if you don't know about the sport. There's plenty of trainers out there. The community is very welcoming. So if you got questions to ask, just park next to the rider at the track and they'll lead the way. It's not that difficult, actually. It's pretty easy to get into the sport. What becomes difficult is to get to our level. It's something you have to do like any other Olympic sport. I mean, we train minimum of 5 to 6 days a week, whether that's on the bike or on the gym. We have trainers, diets, fitness is a big part of it. It's very demanding sport. My average heart rate for a 20-minute photo is around 195 to 200. So it's a lot more intense that people get to see from the outside.
Wow. And what about yourself, Max? How did you get involved?
Yeah, same kind of thing. I was 3 years old and could never remember a time without bikes in my life. You know, I can't remember anything before bikes. So that's it. Apart from being injured here and there and having some weeks off for that, I've always been riding and training, and it's kind of what I was meant to do, and here we are.
Tell me quickly, before we get back to the event, what speeds are you going? How high are you jumping? And do you know what's going through your mind when you're pulling off those types of stunts?
No, we've been doing it for a long time. It just comes natural to us. It's more of a muscle memory thing. Triple jumps are around 75 feet, I believe. They're similar from track to track, so you kind of know how fast you need to hit it. You have something to add to that?
I mean, 2-3 stories up in the air, and I mean, yesterday, but we've gone pretty fast on the F1 track. We got to do a tour of the F1 track on our bikes and done a few wheelies down the straight. And
epic.
Yeah, I don't actually know the top speed, but the bikes are going pretty fast. And it's very close. That's the thing. Like, we could be this far off each other, jumping a jump that's 75 feet. And 3 stories in the air. So, it's tight, very intense. You don't want to make a mistake in that scenario, especially when you're in the air. It's a long way to fall.
Yeah, our wheels are almost off the ground more than they are on the ground, so we're not going that fast. It's a very difficult sport, so it's more about technique and stuff like that, where it differs a little bit from watercross, where you get to go a little faster because you're outdoors. Supercross is more like jump, 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 turn, jump, jump, jump.
Acceleration, and short, sharp stuff.
You know, I have to be honest, I'm learning a lot more about Supercross as I chat to you guys, and I'm waiting for the Netflix show like tennis, golf, but this sounds like so thrilling. Very quickly, 4th and 5th of November at the Etihad Arena, the FIM World Supercross Championship is coming for the very first time. What can we expect as an audience?
Oh, man, for you guys, it's going to be an intense, action-packed show for sure. There's our main event, which is the top 20 guys in the world, showcasing their skills here in Abu Dhabi, and being able to race at this level all around the world is pretty something special. There's pyrotechnics, and there's freestyle motocross, there's backflips and stuff involved with all of that. There's DJs. It's a big show, and then our main event, go head to head as fast as we can to take that gold medal.
Well, guys, wishing you the very best of luck. 2 legends of the sport, Anthony Rodriguez and Max Ansey. Thank you so much for your time today. I truly appreciate it. Have a blast at Abu Dhabi, and we'll see you at the live show. Thank you so much.